The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakens. Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of others. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. The shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases. We meet ourselves time and again in 1,000 disguises on the path of life. The greatest and most important problems of life are fundamentally insoluble. Where wisdom reigns, there is no conflict between thinking and feeling. I must also have a dark side if I am to be whole. The best political, social, and spiritual work we can do is to withdraw the projection of our shadow onto others. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Life really begins only at 40. Up until then, you are just doing research. Every form of addiction is bad, no matter whether the narcotic be alcohol or morphine or idealism. If the path before you is clear, you're probably on someone else's. Shame is a soul-eating emotion. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. The debt we owe to the play of imagination is incalculable. Loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. A dream that is not understood remains a mere occurrence. Understood, it becomes a living experience. The least of things with a meaning is worth more in life than the greatest of things without it. The healthy man does not torture others. Generally, it is the tortured who turn into torturers. A man who has not passed through the inferno of his passions has never overcome them. Children are educated by what the grown-up is and not by his talk. We cannot change anything until we accept it. Neurosis is always a substitute for legitimate suffering. To ask the right question is already half the solution of a problem. Life calls not for perfection but for wholeness. Man needs difficulties. They are necessary for health. Resistance to the organized mass can be effected only by the man who is as well organized in his individuality as the mass itself. In all chaos, there is a cosmos, in all disorder a secret order. Our hearts glow, and secret unrest gnaws at the root of our being. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. Every human life contains a potential. If that potential is not fulfilled, that life was wasted. Often the hands will solve a mystery that the intellect has struggled with in vain. The word happiness would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. The pendulum of the mind oscillates between sense and nonsense, not between right and wrong. If one does not understand a person, one tends to regard him as a fool. Real liberation comes not from glossing over or repressing painful states of feeling, but only from experiencing them to the full. The foundation of all mental illness is the unwillingness to experience legitimate suffering. The most intense conflicts, if overcome, leave behind a sense of security and calm that is not easily disturbed. In each of us, there is another whom we do not know. Where love rules, there is no will to power, and where power predominates, love is lacking. If there is anything that we wish to change in the child, we should first examine it and see whether it is not something that could better be changed in ourselves. We are born at a given moment, in a given place, and, like vintage years of wine, we have the qualities of the year and of the season in which we are born. For a young person, it is almost a sin, or at least a danger, to be too preoccupied with himself, but for the aging person, it is a duty and a necessity to devote serious attention to himself. No tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. The creation of something new is not accomplished by the intellect, but by the play instinct acting from inner necessity. The reason for evil in the world is that people are not able to tell their stories. The greatest tragedy of the family is the unlived lives of the parents. Thinking is difficult, that's why most people judge. The difference between a good life and a bad life is how well you walk through the fire. Knowledge rests not upon truth alone, but upon error also. A particularly beautiful woman is a source of terror. A beautiful woman can pierce the heart with a single glance. The gods have become our diseases. The psyche is the greatest of all cosmic wonders and the sine qua non of the world as an object. We are not what we know but what we are willing to learn. When an inner situation is not made conscious, it appears outside as fate. The dream is the small hidden door in the deepest and most intimate sanctum of the soul. As any change must begin somewhere, it is the single individual who will experience it and carry it through. Masses are always breeding grounds of psychic epidemics. Solitude is for me a fount of healing which makes my life worth living. Dreams are the guiding words of the soul. Life is a battleground, and only he who is ready to fight has a chance for existence. Whoever speaks in primordial images speaks with 1,000 voices. Mistakes are, after all, the foundations of truth. Everything about other people that doesn't satisfy us helps us to better understand ourselves. We are in the midst of a crisis of self-knowledge, a crisis of what it means to be a human being. The brighter the light, the darker the shadow. People cannot stand too much reality. Where love rules, there is no will to power. The shadow is a moral problem that challenges the whole ego personality. Passion, in all its forms, is a natural part of the psyche. The truth does not change according to our ability to stomach it. The greatest and most important problems of life are fundamentally insoluble. They can never be solved, but only outgrown. Life requires for its full realization the opposites, discord as well as concord. To be normal is the ideal aim of the unsuccessful. The unconscious mind is infinitely creative. Nothing has a stronger influence on a child than the unlived life of the parent. If we do not harness the energy within us, we will be harnessed by it. Even a happy life cannot be without a measure of darkness. Whoever cannot stand misery and suffering cannot find his way to inner peace. Wisdom accepts that all things are interconnected. The best work we can do is to make ourselves aware of our projections and stop projecting our shadow onto others. There is a battle going on between the unconscious and the conscious. Happiness is a fleeting moment of harmony and understanding. The unconscious mind is where most of our soul resides. The more one becomes conscious, the more one confronts the shadow. The greatest gift we can give to another is understanding. Man is not in control of his own mind. Ideas are the results of experience, not of creative thought. The human spirit is indomitable. One cannot avoid one's own shadow. It takes courage to push yourself to places you have never been. All gods are personifications of natural forces. Sometimes we have to sacrifice the old self to make way for the new. Man needs difficulties to mature. Only the necessities of life allow him to survive. Embracing solitude is necessary to fully know oneself. The search for the soul requires a journey within. Our inner world is as real as the outer world. Suffering allows us to find ourselves and our purpose. The power of imagination lies in its transformative nature. People who are deeply lonely often have great inner strength. We need more understanding of human nature, for the only danger that exists is man himself. Love does not dominate, it cultivates and encourages. The depths of the unconscious contain treasures beyond measure. There is no such thing as a purely rational person. The unconscious mind speaks in symbols and images. Freedom is within the mind, not in the outside world. We find ourselves only when we look within. The journey inward is the most difficult journey of all. We can live without religion and meditation, but we cannot survive without hope. When we are in touch with our inner selves, we are more at peace. Self-reflection leads to self-acceptance. Those who look for meaning in life are on the path to consciousness. Our lives are defined by the pursuit of understanding. To truly know someone, we must first know ourselves. Love is the law of life. True change begins in the individual. Our fears and hopes are both reflections of our inner state. Wholeness is achieved by accepting all parts of ourselves. Only through awareness can we find true freedom. Our strengths and weaknesses are inseparable. Each person carries a fragment of the world's consciousness. True spirituality is about connecting with the deepest parts of ourselves. We are all a part of the same human family. The mind is both the key to understanding and a barrier to it. Life is a journey towards self-discovery. We are most ourselves when we are vulnerable. To understand life, one must live fully. The greatest adventure is the journey into the self. Emotions are the language of the soul. Every conflict we face has a lesson for us. We are all connected through shared experiences. The answers we seek are within us. True wisdom comes from embracing our darkness. Inner peace is found when we accept ourselves. We cannot be whole without our darkness. Compassion is a bridge between people. Our inner journey is endless. We are both light and shadow. Life's purpose is to learn, grow, and evolve. Only by facing our fears can we overcome them. Every person is a reflection of the collective mind. We can only understand others when we understand ourselves. Self-knowledge is the key to wisdom. The path to wholeness is never easy. Embrace each part of yourself without judgment. The spirit within each of us is unique. Self-acceptance is a journey, not a destination. Freedom is found within. Our journey through life is a journey of discovery. Happiness is found within, not without. To understand oneself is to understand the universe. We are all a part of a greater whole. The self is a reflection of the infinite. Each person holds a key to the universal mystery. Accepting yourself fully is a radical act. Through suffering, we find meaning. We are more than our experiences. Every choice shapes our future self. The true self is beyond thought. The unconscious speaks in dreams. Our deepest fears hold the greatest lessons. Every person we meet has something to teach us. The answers lie within, not outside. Self-awareness leads to inner peace. There is no end to self-discovery. We are all connected through a shared consciousness. We are part of a larger universal order. The inner world is as vast as the outer. Each journey is different but equally valuable. We are constantly evolving toward wholeness. The soul longs for connection and meaning. To live is to learn and to grow. Love is the bridge to understanding. Our true self is hidden within. Every life is a story worth telling. Our existence is a gift to be cherished. The journey within is the greatest journey of all. True wisdom is found within the heart. Every being is interconnected. Life is a cycle of growth and transformation. Self-realization is the ultimate purpose of life.